Good day, everyone. Let's have a look at another problem by computing the square in mathematics basics. So we're integrating dx on 4 minus 2x minus x squared. As I would always tell you, the technique with maths basics is to go straight to your formula sheet, look for a formula, possible formula that will help you out of this. So looking at this is a fraction on my formula sheet. I'm picking the possible formulas. First one is the integral of dx on the a squared plus b squared x squared, which gives me 1 on ab, the arctan of bx over a plus c. That's a possible formula that will help me because it has a quadratic at the denominator and it's a fraction, so you might match that. Then the next one resembles the first, which is dx on a squared minus b squared x squared, which is 1 to ab, the limit of a plus bx divided by a minus bx, all this plus c. So these two formulas, they are all on the maths N6 formula sheet on page number 4, if you are an N6 student. So I've picked my possible formulas, so the formula I'll finally settle for will depend on how my computing the square process ends. If it resembles this with two terms having a positive sign, then I'll go for the first. If it resembles this with two terms separated by a negative sign, I'll go for the second. So let's start the procedure of computing the square. The first thing is to copy the quadratic, arrange it in the proper order of the standard order of the quadratic, which means you start with the squared term or the quadratic term. So I'll get my negative 2x squared, followed by negative 2x, then plus 4. So again, this is not an equation. You see there is no equal to 0, so we can say we're dividing both sides by negative 2. So we need to take our first step for completing the square first. We're going to find an expression which says you take out the coefficient of x squared as a common factor from all the three terms. So the coefficient of x squared is negative 2. So this is how we do it. Write down our negative 2, we open a square bracket, then what you write in here, you get it by taking your first term, you divide by negative 2, second term, you divide by negative 2, third term, you divide by negative 2. So if I take negative 2x squared divided by negative 2, I will get x squared. Then if I take negative 2x divided by negative 2, I get positive x. Then if I take 4, I divide by negative 2, that gives me negative 2. So that's my first step of computing the square. Second step, and then complete the square of the quadratic in the square bracket. So to complete the square, usually the first two terms, which are the quadratic and the linear term, are written exactly the same way you see it. Then you have to take now half the coefficient of x. You see, x does not have a number in front, so its coefficient is 1, or the number in front of it is 1. So if I take a half of 1, it gives me 1 over 2. I'll then square that number. I add it and I subtract it before I write my constant term. So this is what you do for us to say you've completed this. So the square you have just completed is usually hidden in the first three terms inside the square bracket where I've put the dotted line on. So that is your complete square. So to write down that complete square, this is the way we do it. So to put down that complete square, I look at the first three terms, concentrate on the 2 with the squares. I only bring down those 2, so I'm only bringing down x and positive a half. Then I'll cover them with a small bracket and I'll put a square on that. So what I've done here, I've written a complete square, which is exactly the same thing as those three terms. So you can take our time and expand. Expanding means you multiply x plus a half by x plus a half. You must link it back to the 1. So whatever is left, you can then use your calculator to pick it up. So what is left start from this negative going to the end. So I get negative into a half square minus 2. So if you square this half, it gives you 1 over 4. So it's like a half negative 1 over 4 minus 2. So you can free to use a calculator, just like I'm going to do that. So 2 minus 2 minus 1 over 4. So that gives me stage, before you open this bracket, please have a look again at your possible formulas, see the arrangement, so that you know how to open your bracket. That when you open your bracket, the terms without x must come first. So looking at that, it means the negative 2 out of bracket. When I'm setting it in, it must go and multiply 9 over 4 first, so that it comes in front to match the constant terms in front. So negative 2 times negative 9 over 4 will give me positive 9 over 2. Then negative 2 and multiplies the complete square. Since the square is complete, the negative 2 cannot get into x and a half, so it has to stay out as negative 2. Then we bring out the bracket with x plus 1 over 2, all that square. So now I'm looking at where we have ended. You see, we've substituted to use completing the square to convert the quadratic 3 terms to a quadratic 2 terms. And the 2 terms are separated by the negative sign, that therefore tells us we are settling for the second form. So that's how I handle these things with the help of my formula sheet as an N6 student. Again, if you are that kind of student who struggles with this procedure, you have this formula to help you out, which is a formula that unfortunately you have to memorize, because if you make a mistake with this formula for completing the square, then it takes you out of the problem completely. Usually, I don't even like it because I don't like memorizing. So if you can take your time, replace a by negative 2, b by negative 2, and c by 4 into this formula, it must take you straight to where we have arrived. So that means I'll having 4 into my a is negative 2, my c is 4, then my b is negative 2, square it, and 4 into a, which itself is another negative 2, plus negative 2 for a into x plus b, you are negative 2 on 2 times a itself is negative 2. If you do that and square it in your calculator, the first term then must give you a 9 over 2. Then the second term, you can see that it's now creating a negative 2, which is matching that one. Then in the bracket, we've got our x. Then here you get 2 negatives. You have negative 2 there, negative 4, which will create positive a half, all in square. So if you're that kind of candidate who prefers this one, then make sure, please, you memorize that formula right. So now that we've completed the square, if I can bring this portion and match it to the denominator of my formula, it means I'm saying we ended with 9 over 2 minus 2 into x plus 1 over 2 squared. So it's a perfect match for the denominator of this formula. So that therefore is saying that this is a squared minus b squared, x squared. So we're replacing every a squared by 9 over 2, b squared by 2, x by x plus a half. So that therefore means if a squared is equal to 9 over 2, what is our a? Well, a will simply mean to take the square root of 9 over 2, and that's important to do that because you see on the other side of the formula we need a and we need b. So we do the same thing for b squared is matching 2. You see the negatives are already matching one another. Then this means that b will be 2, and obviously x will be matching x over 2. So finally, to make life easy for me, I'll just copy the formula I've settled for because I have 2 options from page 4 of my formula sheet. After completing the square, I've settled for that one. So I'll copy it down. So copying it down, the integral of dx from a squared minus b squared x squared is equal to 1 over 2ab. The limit of a plus bx on a minus bx plus c. And what will I do now to get my final answer? I will simply do my replacement of a squared, b squared, a and b in this formula from left to right. So I've got all that here. Then x will be replaced by x plus 1 over 2. So a squared, you are 9 over 2. The negative sign follows b squared, you are 2. Where there's x, I put in x plus a half. And because x carries a square, it means x plus a half also carries a square. I'm done with replacing on the left hand side. So let me go to the right. I need a 1 on 2a. A, you are the square root of 9 on 2. Then b, you are 2. Then take the limit of a, which is the square root of 9 on 2. plus b, which is 2. Every x must be replaced by x plus 1 over 2 divided by a again, which is 9 over 2 minus b, which is 2. X is x plus 1 over 2. Then close the big bracket plus c. So guys, you see that's how easy it is. And this is simply how we complete a square. As I always tell you, the only thing here, the little trick that I put is maybe put a number up there. Let's say if this time you choose to put 7, then that 7 up there will not affect the way you complete the square. Whether you're doing with this method or this one, it doesn't affect you. So all you need to do is follow the same steps until when you get to the end, you come and put your 7 there. Whatever you do to the left, you do to the right. So here, I'll also put my 7. And I'm done. Thank you very much.